What's up, weirdo? Shade Surgeon here, and today we got something really special. The kind of 1980s dad steez that you just can't recreate. Right here in front of me is an FXR that is very different than the FXR behind me. Both ooze in their own special kind of way, but the biggest difference is this FXR right here, this 1982 shovelhead FXR, first year of the FXR, first year of independent Harley-Davidson ownership. This FXR could be your FXR for 25 bucks because we're giving it away to somebody who buys a raffle ticket out of the Softail Springer raffle, which is getting pulled this Friday. So from when this video comes out, you have exactly 48 hours, probably a little less than if you didn't watch it right away, to go ahead and hit that link, grab a raffle ticket for the ultimate 80s dad OG steez FXR here, Riders on the Storm, the Indian Outlaw. This is the kind of FXR in the driveway of that one house in your neighborhood that had a dirt yard and a Malibu up on blocks. You know, the one that had a kid in it that you weren't allowed to go over and play at his house? This was his dad's FXR. A dude who never smelled like anything other than Winston Reds and English leather. The kind of guy give you a sip out of his can of Bush when you brought it back from the refrigerator while he was watching NASCAR and telling tall tales. The kind of dad who did a little time at Con College for being a street pharmacist in the early 70s, so he never went to NAM, but he'll tell anybody who listens that they should have put Muhammad Ali up on treason charges, all while doing his best version of the Motor City Madman singing Cat Scratch Fever down at the American Legion karaoke night. A man out of time, that's who had this bike right here. This entire motorcycle tells a story. This is never how I would personally build an FXR, but it's definitely how a dad in 1986 would build an FXR. Now, of course, if you win this bike, you can do whatever you want to it. You can get rid of this front suspension and this FLH headlight nacelle. You could even get rid of this gorgeous paint job. Though, if you do that, call me first. I want to buy at least the tank from you. If you're gonna repaint it, I'll get you another FXR tank and I'll keep this one. It's just too good to paint over. You can do whatever you want to this bike. You can make it like every other FXR on the planet, or you can keep it just like this time capsule, this moment in time of Winstons and Crown Royal and bar fights at the American Legion and not having to come home till the street lights came on, Saturday morning cartoons, flea market nunchucks. It tells the story of a certainly flawed dad, but a dad who was definitely there. And that makes me even more happy because even though it's a story I'm telling, it is ultimately a happy story. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with dads that weren't perfect, but were definitely there. And that's why we're giving this bike away for parents who weren't there at all, and then foster parents who also took advantage of kids that were put into their care after experiencing some of the most horrific crap you could ever imagine in your life. 100% of every dollar raised from this motorcycle is going to go directly to Forgotten Angels to help them fight the cycle of abuse in the foster care system, to help those kids who never had a parent at all that was worth a damn, not even one that was flawed. They had parents that were straight up almost evil, if such a thing exists in this world. The kind of parents who prostituted their kids, the kind of parents who burned their kids with cigarettes, the kind of parents who injected their children with methamphetamines because they didn't want to do drugs alone. All of those are true stories. Those are stories that David and Cindy hear all the time from kids who went through this and then were put in a foster home, treated like a paycheck until they turned 18, and then made homeless. And used to be they could get 500 bucks or so from the government, from Social Security. That's gone now. That doesn't exist anymore. So let me put that into perspective to you guys out there who help out. I'm not trying to make it seem like an insurmountable problem, but if Forgotten Angels helped out 100 kids and those kids got $400 or $500 a month, which ain't enough to live on, it's just enough to help a little. Well, you imagine how much income from the federal government that Forgotten Angels just lost that these young men and young women were relying on. It's a staggering amount of money, $40,000 to $50,000 a month. Makes what we're doing that much more important. But that doesn't mean that we can't still have an awesome time while we're doing it. And that's what I'm gonna do right now, because I'm not gonna have this bike for very long. We're giving it away. We're pulling a winner in 48 hours. So better get my ride in now. Motorcycle just looks like it's straight out of a David Mann painting. and it definitely needs some fresh gas in it. Just hopefully the little gas that's left in there will get me to the gas station. All right. This thing runs just fine on the gas that it's been sitting with. Though I will say, yeah, judging from that get up and go, we're gonna go ahead and put 93 in it. I had really not a lot of info on this motor or what had been done to it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's definitely not stock. I always go back and forth, and I think if push really came to shovel, I'd probably pick the twin cam as my favorite sounding Harley Davidson ever, but it's undeniable. Nothing sounds like a shovel. Goes into neutral just fine too. It's only newer Harleys that really have that problem. Now, whatever's going on there, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's probably got high enough compression that it's gonna want 93. Full tank of gas, but with only 48 hours to buy a ticket and then we're pulling the winter, I probably won't even own this thing for enough time to actually go through it. God, I love the way a shovel starts right up like that. Thing has just got so much old school steez, baby. Yeah, that's not stock. Holy mackerel, dude. It has, I'm pretty sure it has stock Harley cases. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that any shovel head motor is stock anymore, but I don't know, man. Something's been done to this bike. This thing rips. I didn't even know. What a bonus. I picked this thing up for the paint job and the OG 80s dad style. I wasn't even worried about what the motor could do. That was unexpected, but a very pleasant surprise. I say it all the time. I'm a broken record. I say it so much that I literally wouldn't even blame people for not believing me and thinking I'm just saying it, because I'm always like, I want to keep every bike that we do as a Forgotten Angels giveaway bike because we pick them out. Like, the whole reason we have this bike right now, the whole reason that we're able to get giveaway bikes for Forgotten Angels. Oh yeah, dude. That definitely makes me want to keep it. Damn. But again, the whole reason we're able to get giveaway bikes for Forgotten Angels is for a few different reasons. Because of you guys watching right now, all you loyal members of the Shade Tree Inner Circle, just remember, it's not a cult. All you guys in the Discord and the Patreon, well, we use Patreon money to go and pick up these bikes. And while I appreciate every single one of my grand battle mages out there on the Patreon and in the Discord, you know, it usually doesn't cover an entire motorcycle and repairing it. Well, in addition to that, we got Sugar Tree J and Sessions out in Oregon, out in the PNW. That's another reason we're able to go out and get these bikes. So for all your strange herb needs for dark visions and mystical prophecies, if you're in Oregon, make sure you imbibe using only Sessions and Brapstar. Ask the purveyor at your local apothecary, aka your bud tender, your local dispo, to make sure they order Sessions on LeafLink. And if you're in the surrounding PNW area around Oregon, well, I've always heard that it hits a little harder when you pull off some Han Solo, Smokey and the Bandit style activities across the border, but if you get busted, I will disavow. And the third reason in the Trinity that allows us to get this is, of course, Orion. More information on Orion, the creation, the brainchild of the former shop goblin, now very much an ascended dragon, Kayla. That's in an unlisted video link down below. I'm not going to go into it here, but if you would like to know more, go ahead and click on that at your earliest convenience. I like that. It's going to be really hard for me to not make a cash offer to whoever ends up winning this thing. Although, you know, I don't really have any cash right now because we got this bike. Anyway, whoever gets it is getting a pretty awesome bike that you cannot recreate this level of old school cool. Definitely not for 25 bucks. And the world is a very, very different place than it was when this bike was first built and some cool dad, some cool old school Marlboro Man style dad in the 80s was riding this thing. I know that foster kids and bad foster parents and bad parents, well, abuse has been a problem since the beginning of time, but I don't know if it's just me because this is the time I'm alive in, but it just seems worse than it's ever been. I don't really believe in evil per se. I don't really believe in evil, but with what I hear about happening to these kids, both perpetrated by their blood parents and done by the people who are supposed to protect them, who get paid by the government to protect them afterwards, and then do much the same kind of stuff to them, throw them out on the street when they're 18, go ahead and say, you're an adult, you can fend for yourself, and now even some Social Security that they used to get has been taken away. It becomes harder and harder to say that there's not evil in this world when I look at the realities that some of these young men and women at tender ages, 9, 10, 11 years old, 18 years old, and I see what they've had to go through, and I compare it to my own life and how amazing, even though my life wasn't perfect, how amazing it was. Seeing what they had to go through, it'll turn your stomach, but in addition to turning your stomach, it'll also steel your resolve, make you want to change the world, and that's what we're doing here. That's what I want to do. I know that's what you guys watching this want to do, and the people in the Patreon, and everybody who's taken part in Kayla's Orion experiment. Sugar Tree J, that's how we met. But I will tell you what does make me happy is the amount of people who've come together to do good things. The amount of bad people doing good things who have been brought together by all this stuff. Whether it's motorcycles, whether it's passing around a big old hog leg around the campfire full of session smoke, whatever it might be, boats, fishing, whatever it might be that brought us together with all what looks like to me to be evil in the world, well, I will tell you, the things that I know are good are rising to the occasion. That link's going to be down below, y'all. Go ahead and click on it. Again, only if you can afford to. I don't want you to put yourself in a bad position just to do something good for somebody else and just to get a chance at this bike. As amazing as this bike is, as righteous as the cause is, as much as these people, these young men and women need our help, cannot put yourself in a bad situation to do that. So please do not. And I know sometimes it's hard to resist when I go, man, you got 2 days to grab a ticket. This is me saying right now, if you look at your bank account and you can't afford this, you can't afford to do this, do not do it. Just stop, slow down, let the hype die for a second of me going, this bike is awesome. It is, but let it die for a second of saying this bike is awesome. You have a limited amount of time to grab a ticket and the cause is righteous and just. Take 1 second and say, can I afford to donate? Don't even think about it like buying a ticket. Can I afford to donate to somebody who has less than I do? And be honest with yourself whether that answer is yes or no, because I don't want anybody to put themselves in a bad spot because of this. We're trying to get people out of bad spots, not into them. But if you find yourself with a little more and you want to help somebody with a little less and you want a chance at winning winning a bike I would very much like to keep for myself. That's all of them though, what can I say? Like that link's down below. Now, let's go on to me being an absolute sucker, and probably the reason why I never have any money. Well, one of the many, many reasons I have no money. What's up, Rito? Shade Tree Surgeon here, and I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a sucker. For somebody who is constantly on Facebook Marketplace picking up sketchy things that I ought not to, you would think that I'd have a little bit more sense. You'd think that I'd be a little more savvy. You'd think that I'd be a little more cutthroat. Well, you'd think, you'd hope, well, I would probably do most of the hoping, actually. Unfortunately, I'm not. I'm selling that John boat right there. This was a boat that me and Cammy were gonna build together. Plans changed. It's getting sold with the Yamaha 4-stroke 9.9 on the back. Yamaha engines, people love them, especially the 4-strokes. They hold their resale value better than almost any other brand. So I knew I'd be able to sell that Yamaha without a problem, especially once it's attached to the boat. Now, as far as price, I probably could have charged more than $2 grand for it, but I threw it up on Facebook Marketplace for $1,500 because I don't know, man, that's about what I got into the whole kit and caboodle, and it just doesn't feel right to rake somebody else over the coals just because I happen to get a good deal. So I figured, hey man, I'll let it go for what I got into it. And Yamaha 9.9, little John boat and a trailer with the title, it'll make someone out there a real nice fishing boat for not a lot of money. Like I said, I'm a sucker. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be more cutthroat. And it didn't last long, surprising nobody. Someone is on their way right now to pick it up and take it off my hands. Unfortunately, when they texted me, they told me that their son found the boat, and their son has been pestering them all summer for a John boat. And my first bad mistake was asking her how old her son was, and I guess that was my last bad mistake too. And she told me he's 13. And told me the rest of the story is that they literally just this summer moved away from her kid's childhood home, and they took it really hard. And they moved in across the street from a lake, and he's recently taken up fishing because he hasn't made a whole lot of friends yet, it being summer and all. And he's been scouring Facebook Marketplace trying to find a boat for the right price. And Anyway, yeah, so I had a bunch of other stuff for sale too that I just ended up throwing in there because I'm an idiot and bad at business. And apparently I hate money. That's okay though. Come on, man. 13-year-old kid moved away from home across the street from a lake. We can throw him in some extras. So it wasn't gonna come with a gas tank, but we went ahead and threw a gas tank in there for him. I gotta imagine what I was charging for this boat, seeing as he's 13 years old, was at the top of his budget. So I wanted to try to get him with as much stuff to get him in the water as soon as possible. So gas tank, it wasn't gonna come with a battery, but I went ahead and threw in a battery. It wasn't gonna come with dock line, but I went ahead and I threw in some dock line. It wasn't gonna come with an oar, but I happened to have an extra oar sitting around thanks to my good friend Loose Juice. Wasn't gonna come with a bilge pump, but there also happens to be an extra bilge pump on the shelf. I probably shouldn't throw this one. It wasn't gonna come with an anchor, but I also happen to have an extra anchor sitting around. And seeing as it's summertime in Florida, I can't think of a better time to be 13 years old and have my very first John boat and spend what's left of summer fishing. Making those memories out on the water when you're 13 years old with a fishing pole is one of the coolest things in the world. I'm sure a lot of you guys in the audience right now have your own memories of being 13 years old and having a fishing pole. Good for him that he's got some awesome parents who are willing to spend the 1,500 bucks to get him a John boat and make him the coolest 13-year-old kid at school. I'm sure you won't have any problem making new friends with that thing. So I also figure I might as well throw in a chest harness, a GoPro, and some mounts for him too. Gonna be 13 years old out fishing, you know? When I was 13, none of this stuff was needed to go fishing, but in the year 2025, I don't know, I think it'll make it a lot cooler, won't it? So yeah, my $1,500 John boat that I was kind of almost breaking even on is turning more into like $500-600 upside down on it. But I don't know, I never saw a hearse with a luggage rack, so when you've got a little extra, like I'm always telling you guys with Forgotten Angels, you can always pay it forward. And being a new kid in town at 13 years old, it helps to have some cool stuff. I'm glad that his parents are helping him get out on the water, and who knows, maybe you'll see him on YouTube. Now for a motorcycle that is, I guess, arguably almost as crappy as Sisyphus the shovel is. It's just that the Vomit Comet happens to be a whole lot faster. Just popping over to Forgotten Angels real quick because my man No Moving Parts is over there with his new motorcycle and I want to check it out. If you've ever been to the Forgotten Angels camp out, if you've ever passed by this sign up here, which a lot of you will be doing coming up here pretty soon, welcome home. Well, you've probably met No Moving Parts. He's usually up here with his daughter at the camp out, an absolutely amazing person, and he happens to be the person who donated the yellow Springer. Ooh. And in addition to the yellow Springer, trust me, he also treated himself. Speaking of first bikes, it's good to see that one still going strong.
Oh no, the service plan has paid out over $7 grand in maintenance for that.
He might be young, but he is wise. Buy the extended service plan.
Wise beyond his age and size.
2 grand compared to 7, I won.
All right, we're hanging out here with my man Alec, No Moving Parts, of course, and his very cool Maximum Brown over here. Brown never goes out of style. Like we say, that brown sound, she sure do get around. That's Elvis and Chuck Berry, all right? We're always ripping the style. I'm glad that he did something for himself, but of course, Alec, a selfless act. Come over here. An even more selfless act, I would say. He presented me with a gift as he came up here. I'm gonna need to build my dexterity skills for this one. Something tells me that I'm gonna be doing a little practicing with this, and it'll probably come in handy. No moving parts, to be sure. So I'm glad you did something for yourself, but you also donated a hell of a motorcycle to Forgotten Angels. Come here in camera, man. Where we can get all of us in camera. It's not all jokes. Everything is not all funny stuff. You donated an amazing motorcycle to Forgotten Angels. You're a good friend of mine. I've known you since before Forgotten Angels. We might have met through the channel, but it was years ago.
Yeah,
at this point, whenever you find yourself in a position to do something good for somebody else, you do it. As long as you have enough largesse to also do something nice for yourself.
Call me fat?
Not quite as fat, dude.
Slim now,
I heard him say largesse.
As long as you have enough largesse to also do something nice for yourself. You only get one go around. I've never seen a hearse with a luggage rack. That counts just as much to doing charity charity and giving as it does to doing charity for yourself. And trust me, look at that face. This motherfucker needs a lot of charity. Someone's got to be nice to you.
That would be cool. I would like that.
I'm glad that you did that for yourself. I'm glad and you're glad. David's glad. We got the trifecta that's saying we're glad that you did that, but the amount of people who are glad that you also donated an amazing bike that's raising thousands of dollars for people in need.
When you can,
that's also amazing too. Without hurting yourself, without making yourself homeless, with also leaving enough money left over to treat yourself. Right. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and take the king's right with this one and take my ride too. There's just something about the older CVOs that I really, really dig. Back when they still just made CVOs and filled them full of chrome. My man No Moving Parts had a Dyna switchback before this, or I think it was a switchback. And he was actually in a pretty severe wreck, almost lost his life. Glad to see him back on two wheels and glad that he went ahead and did it up right. I like that just fine. I love Vomit Comet. Some part of me always goes, you know, I wonder if I should have tried to put a real hot twin cam in it instead of that big inch 124 Evo that I did. There's just something about the way a twin cam sounds that I really love. Always glad to see a good friend of mine not only survive a motorcycle accident, but survive it as a rider afterwards too. I never hold it against anybody if they go through a bad wreck or even a wreck that's not that bad and they decide at that point that they don't want to ride motorcycles anymore. I can't hold that against somebody. It's a personal choice and it's your life you're talking about. Now, for me, well, I ain't riding, I ain't living, but I ain't gonna force that on anybody else or even suggest that you should feel like that in any way, shape, or form. That is a 100% personal decision, and if you were letting somebody else influence that decision, else influence how you gamble your life and what your risk versus reward equation is. Least of all, a dirty hobo swamp wizard like me. That being said, I'm glad that No Moving Parts is up and moving again, and boy, this thing moves. I spent some time on a twin cam B motor because I spent a lot of time on Madame Hexa's motorcycle. She had a Heritage Softail with a balanced motor, and that's where I first learned to like them. Before, I never really thought about them much. And now, I'll tell you right now, people sleep on twin cam Softails. This is a hell of a platform. It might not be as customizable as the Dyna, but it's a really, really nice bike. And you can pick them up for a fraction of the cost of a lot of other motorcycles because people just, they look at a Softail and go, oh, you can't put 16-foot tall Olean shocks on it and carve all the corners. Well, you might not be able to do that. That doesn't mean you can't build a hell of a ripping motorcycle. Just like everything, once all the popular stuff gets bought up, people start looking at what's left over and stuff springs up around that too. Something tells me that the Softail twin cams and even the Softail Evos will probably have a little bit of a cottage industry springing up around them once people start to realize it's the last really nice, affordable Harley Davidson with a big twin left out there. You can get a Softail Evo if you want, but that Softail twin cam with the balanced motor, that is real nice. And for everyone out there who say Harleys shake like a chihuahua that ate a half a pound of cheddar cheese, you've never ridden a Softail with a B motor. The counterbalancer on these twin cam B motors is so dang good. To me, they vibrate even less than the new Softail Milwaukee 8s with a counterbalanced engine. You almost feel nothing. You feel just enough through the handlebars to know the motorcycle's running, and that's literally it. Now, for some people who want to shake, rattle, and roll with a rubber-mounted motor, that wouldn't be your thing, but for everybody who doesn't like that, this will definitely be your thing. As we always say, we're bad people doing good things, but just make sure you do something bad for yourself before you do something good, all right, baby? Listen, when you take 2 months off to head out to the PNW during the summertime and every day out there is 77 degrees, when you come back to the Wang, you gotta fight for what you used to have, and you definitely got to fight the heat. It's 97 degrees with 100% humidity, and El Verde Infierno has begun to reclaim my yard. I'm down one more boat today, one less boat, and unfortunately the boats I do have also now don't run. So let's knock back the jungle and fix that situation. I've beaten back the jungle, we've gassed the bugs, things are looking a little clearer back there now. Let me explain exactly why I have to do this. You see, when I first put this Optimax on the back of this boat right here, it's an engine that I ended up getting for almost nothing on the back of a boat that after some creative horse trading I paid nothing for. So I'm not out nothing except for some parts. I will tell you, I've always laughed at people when they said bust out another 1,000, that's what boat stands for, because I've never had to. I've looked up how to do stuff online, I've figured out how things work, I've been able to clean instead of replace, I've been able to trade and buy cheap, sell high after fixing it. I've just had really good luck until it came to fuel injected two-strokes. I have opinions about the Optimax now. I've had exactly one voyage on this boat and hours upon hours of trying to figure out why it doesn't run right, and probably about $400 in parts that I've had to throw at this thing, and not just throw at it without any kind of educated guess. I know more about Optimaxes now than a lot of people do, and I'm still telling you, screw this motor. It's opted its last max. It's held its last yeah. It's coming off of there, and we're putting a carbureted Johnson V6 on it, and that's all there is to it. And speaking of carbureted Johnson V6s, let's make sure this one still runs before I go getting too excited. Although, I can't see why it wouldn't. Of course, I can't see why this wouldn't run. It's something I've said a dozen times about the Optimax so far. God damn it. All right. All right. All right, that's a good sign. There we go, we're going. There we go. All right, it's hot, but it's not getting any cooler. Let's go ahead and rip this motor off. I got all I can do to keep the sweat out of my eyes and the water keeping on going back inside my body as it very quickly exits it. No more fuel injection. This is me remembering to grease my stainless steel bolts before I take them off. Oh, what the fuck? Come on, man. Thanks a lot, Starbright, piece of shit. That's annoying as fuck. So the astute among you may notice that I am not putting a V6 200 horsepower Johnson on this boat. I'm putting an inline 4 two-stroke Mercury on this boat. I ended up second guessing myself, which I will regret later, and regret other times I second guessed myself, but we'll all in due time to all my screw ups, all in due time. I ended up second guessing myself because the boat's only rated for 150 horsepower. Now that shouldn't really matter. It's more of like a insurance thing. Like if you're going to carry insurance on your boat and you have a overpowered motor, then they really don't like that. It's welded and riveted boat. This is a very, very strong aluminum boat. There's absolutely no reason it shouldn't be able to handle a 200 horsepower motor on the transom. I don't know. I just second guessed myself, and I saw this 125 came up, and this was a carbureted, newer 125. It's a 2004, and they did this thing then where it was a 2+2 engine where, under 1800 RPM, only 2 of the cylinders would run. And I was like, okay, they did this to save gas. So it's like I can still run a 2-stroke that's carbureted, oil injected is deleted on it, and it'll still get good gas mileage. Like this is awesome. And, it looked like it was in really good shape, and it was just really, really cheap. Anyway, I should not second guess myself. I do this all the time. This is like a weird thing I do that I don't really understand why I do it, where, I'll have everything I need and be set up to do something. And then like right at the last second, right before I'm about to do what I've been thinking about for days and weeks and been so frustrated trying to fix this other motor and just talked myself into it and been like, this is what I'm going to do. I need to do this. I've been so frustrated. I need to cut through the Gordian knot. And then right at the last second, I just like take a sharp left-hand turn and change it all around with barely any thought whatsoever. Like knee-jerk reaction, last second, after all this planning and all this headache and everything that I was trying to do, go like, nope, never mind. I'm going to do it this way instead. I don't know why I do that. That can't be unique to me, right? Let me, please, God, tell me that's not unique to me. Okay, anyway, moving on. Well, that motor's on there. And no, you might be noticing this is not a V6 Johnson. We ended up going with a different option. Hopefully better. Or at least just ever so slightly better on gas, let's say. Yeah, that's what you want to see coming out. You're pushing all that bad grease out. Yuck. Get you guys the extra gross close-up. You start seeing it come out red, and then you got all the bad gross shit out. As Ernest P. Worrell would say, here's another super annoying, stupid mistake I made. One of the reasons I went with the knee-jerk reaction of getting into a Mercury instead of using the Johnson is that the throttle for this boat is built into it, and I really didn't want to rip the whole boat apart just to put, Johnson controls on instead of Mercury. So I said to myself, well, I'll just, it makes sense. I'll go with the Mercury. I'll go with the Mercury. That makes more sense. Well, then the trim was broken, and I had to get the trim switch out, and I go, God damn it, I'm going to have to cut a hole in the side of this to access these damn controls, because the controls have to come off in order to get the trim switch off. So I was just cussing my entire life. And turns out, actually, you don't have to cut a hole. There is actually a method that I learned on YouTube University where you don't have to cut a hole to get them off. So I never needed to cut the hole. I cut the hole for no reason. So I was able to remove the trim switch. And then I found out it wasn't the trim switch at all anyway. Yeah, this has been a frustrating series of events. Well, well, you see, what had happened is I should have checked YouTube University before I cut any holes. I wouldn't say it's too much my fault or David's fault. Ultimately, there ended up being a secret third thing. I thought you had to unbolt the whole thing. Turns out the center cap on these side mounts, well, that center cap that you push in order to do a fast idle without actually putting it in gear, that thing actually comes out, and there's a big bolt in there, and that's how you take it off to access the trim switch. Anyway, also, the trim switch also, we've been wrong on so many levels today. The trim switch, now that I've taken it off here, the trim switch is also not what the problem was. You see, finally, what I should have done in the first place is bust out the multimeter, and once I did, I found out that I had power going to all 3 of these, and you shouldn't have power going to all 3. You should only have power going to 1. And now that I've removed it, now that I've cut a hole, now that I've cut my trim switch off, I'm going, well, why do I have power going to all of these? The switch should select the power going from one or the other. And then I tried grounding them out, and stupid me again, should have busted out the multimeter a long time ago. Yeah, anyway, 2 relays at a cost of $7 a piece from Buddy Bezos next day delivery was all I needed. Not holes cut, wires cut, things taken apart, and about 4 or 5 hours and a couple gallons of sweat wasted. Anyway, that's about as far as we can go on this one right now. Once again, my own stupidity has prevented me from going out on the water. I wouldn't even say this is a boat thing. This isn't like, oh, boats are such a problem. This is a Josh's stupid things. Even with everything else going on, that's usually always the problem. Let's clean this shit up. It's fucking, I'm telling you, Fuels, cleaning up your whole mess that you frantically pulled everything out on because you're trying to fix a problem to try to get out on the water or try and get a motorcycle running, and it ends up not working and you have to order a part. Just clean up that mess feels like the most defeated feeling in the world. I guess I earned that one though. Sometimes you just gotta accept defeat because you got defeated. It's your fault, bud. It's fixed. It really is finally fixed. Luckily, it's an absolutely beautiful day to be out on the water. The wind's blowing, the lightning's crashing, and it's about to pour down rain. And you know what? After the time I've had, we're going anyway. You know, I really had my fingers crossed by the time I got to the boat ramp that it would have stopped thundering and raining. I guess it's almost stopped raining, but there's definitely more on the horizon. Now, about all that stuff off in the distance, those little guys out there, now, we won't worry about those little guys out there. All right, cross your fingers for me. Hell yeah. Ooh, even better. She's a squirt. Hold on to your assholes. Here goes nothing. We're gonna experience what it's like to get the Mercury 125 and the Starcraft 190 up on plane for the first time. Fingers crossed. I have experienced a lot of frustration up to this point, and I will feel a lot better if this boat works. Well, it works. Let's try that again. We are going to do some fishing today, but mainly a test and tune. Saw my bilge pump, which I fixed by the way, come on. I feel like it's coming on a little early. Let's see if we got any kind of egregious leaks in there. It only came on for a second, but it did come on. Yeah, I would say there's more water in there than there should be. I don't see anything leaking, but I think that was because it dumped the monsoon's worth of rain on top of the boat while I was on the trailer straight across when I put the plug in, not because I actually have a leak. All right, onward. We got a running boat. Let's enjoy this thing. Is it even a good deed unless you film yourself doing it? I like making videos, so I'm gonna film myself doing it. We'll pick up the trash. I think if you're gonna enjoy the great outdoors and the beautiful bay and the beautiful Gulf that we got out here, well, you gotta be willing to clean up after people who don't do it. So, I just realized I forgot my pub sub in the truck. Been wanting to go out on the boat, it shouldn't matter, but we're going back to the dock because it's not a boat trip without a pub sub. Give me a freaking break here. This trip is gonna be exactly what it wanted to be, and it's gonna be perfect whether it kills me or not. All by the time I got to the dock to pick up my pub sub, it was officially raining again, and it's still raining now. I am saturated. I guess it's not with sweat this time. I'll take what I can get. But rain, lightning, it might be raining. There's thunder and lightning, overcast skies, but at least I can eat a pub sub while I'm dealing with all this. And I'm on a boat. How bad could it actually be? Come on. On a boat with a pub sub? I don't care if it's the end of the world. A lot of people would do some pretty reprehensible shit to be where I am right now. There they are, you bastards. See them down there. No dice, and I'll tell you the Mercury 2+2, although up on plane it runs fine, it does not like starting or idling. Try something a little different. Oh, where'd you go? They were just jumping. So frustrating to see them right down there. Like David always says, if they're eating caviar and steak under the water, you throw a hot dog down there, they ain't gonna bite it. Just because something's eating those bait fish, it might be doing pretty damn good eating those bait fish. Why the hell would it look at my lure? I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This was an incredibly frustrating day. I was in a certified, genuine bad mood. And it's not lost on me how fortunate of a position that I'm in. I'm in a boat that after some trading, I literally got for almost nothing. I'm out on the water fishing on a boat that some people save up their whole lives to get, and I just have it. Unfortunately, while trying to use that to make myself snap out of this funk, I just made myself feel worse. So it's just like, oh my God, dude. Not only am I just having an awful time saturated by the rain, I ain't catching shit. The motor's not running in a satisfying way. Not only am I just in a bad mood, but I'm also just an absolutely ungrateful piece of shit, apparently. I was doing my best, but unfortunately the pub sub can only put in so much work. But a valiant effort, very valiant effort, commendable even. I did eventually manage to break myself out of the funk that I was in. That was, you know, just like 5 days in the making, trying to get all this stuff ready and then having a bad time. I'm gonna have an unlisted video in the description down below if you want to click on it. One of the ways I did this was through using Kayla, formerly Shop Goblin's creation, Orion. Orion's been something that I've been using frequently recently, and it's really helped me kind of streamline and sift through my thoughts and be able to put them together in such a way that really helps me use them better. Anyway, I'm not going to put it in this video because this is already going to be like a 45-minute long video, which is par for the course when it comes to me. So I'm going to have it in an unlisted video down below. If you guys caught the first unlisted video that came after my last video, you'll know what I'm talking about already. If not, I'll give you a refresher down there. Anyway, let's go ride motorcycles.
If you think you're psychic, maybe you are.
Federal studies are being conducted in your community. Would you like to know more?
All those guys, all those dudes that keep telling me you're gonna have to bust out another 1,000 boat. That's what that stands for. Better bust out another 1,000. First thing I'll tell you is there's exactly one person in the world who likes hearing "I told you so." One single person, and that's the person saying it out loud. Everyone else thinks that person can go get fucked. That being said, I get it. It probably feels pretty nice to say "I told you so," but I will say this. I didn't exactly have to bust out another 1,000 unless you put a dollar amount on my time. And because I want to win the argument, I'm just gonna say that my time is worthless. So I still didn't have to bust out another 1,000. See? I told you so! Anyway, just because I lost a battle doesn't mean I've given up on the war. I've died on smaller hills, only to be reborn again. Dumber, stronger. Wait a second. I don't know if that's a good thing. Also, I took a wrong turn in Albuquerque. Feeling so good riding this motorcycle, I forgot where I was going. We won't get mad at that. I'm not wasting time by going a little bit out of my way. I'm doing exactly what I needed to do to feel better. So what if I get to do it a little bit longer? You know, I've always been awful fond of saying that my worst mile on a motorcycle is still better than my best mile in a car. And while that's saying, it might be tossing the old pigskin around at the hyperbole, still, it kind of rings true. I almost always, no matter what the conditions are, have a better time on a motorcycle than I do in a car. And it never fails to cheer me up, even with nothing, even with chaos looming on the horizon. I think one of the things I've learned is that same philosophy really doesn't apply to boats, and I probably should have just waited for a nicer day to take it out and test it. Does that mean I don't love boats as much as I love motorcycles? Yeah, probably. I would say that that's what that means. But you know, I already knew that. That wasn't in question. I guess it's my fault, really, for trying to apply the exact same phenomenon that exists for me in motorcycles when I can just beat my head against the wall and throw myself against the gates just over and over and over again, trying to get it fixed in time and go through hell and high water on the side of the road, just straining at the bounds of what's actually possible to make this contraption on two wheels run again, even if it's just for 1 mile. And then once it does, ecstasy! And even though I love being out on the water and I love tinkering with two-stroke boat motors, well, I guess that same exact feeling doesn't always happen on a boat. That's all right. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop going out on the water, stop having fun fishing and doing all that stuff. It just means I won't have the same expectations. Like that meme of the girl or whoever it is holding up the sign, "You saved my life, you fixed me." You know, and the next panel is just, like a Hitachi magic wand saying, "Yeah, I'm literally just a vibrator." Well, I get it. I look at the bike, I'm like, "You saved me, you fixed me, you gave me the will to live." And the poor bike is just going, "Yeah, I'm literally just a motorcycle." Yeah, the deeper meaning there isn't that it's about the motorcycle or any object or anything. The deeper meaning there is in how you choose to enjoy it, how you choose to experience it, and what you take away from it. Or I guess not how you choose to, or what you're able to, we'll say. So whether you're a mild-mannered trad wife with a Hitachi magic wand, or a strong-jawed based femcel with a bad dragon toy, whether you're on bikes or boats or anything else, it's all about how much fun you have while you're doing it. And if you don't have very much fun doing it, even though you're convinced that you should, maybe that you should be doing something else that makes you feel better. You know, of course, this doesn't apply to things you have to do. These are choices. This is stuff we do for fun, extracurricular activities. Because seriously, if you're out there somewhere and there's a bad dragon toy and it's something you have to do, please call the police. You are in extreme peril. Either way, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of spending the time on this Springer, because just like the FXR, it's not going to be mine for long. We're pulling the winner for the FXR 48 hours from when this video comes out on Friday, and a couple days later, someone's getting pulled to win this Springer. What are you doing up there, buddy? What's going on up there? That's something I'd definitely like to put in my arsenal of boats. The surface drive motor. That could be really, really cool. Just down there in the Everglades with one of those, that'd be so badass.
Appreciate you guys hanging out in what was yet another video that's all over the place. One that originally thought was gonna be about 20 minutes long and then ended up being about an hour long, which is usually how it goes. Every time I'm editing these videos and go back through it, I'm just like, how the hell would I even have time to do all this stuff? Anyway, I appreciate you making time to hang out with me in the premiere or to watch this video, and hopefully you make time to click that unlisted video as well. The link to that, and of course the link to the raffle, is going to be down below. Less than 48 hours left from the time that you're watching this video if you want to win that FXR. It's going to be hard for me to let go, but I'm sure it's going to be very, very easy for someone to take, and I don't blame you. That thing's awesome. And just as badass, 2 days after that, we're pulling a winner for the Softail Springer. So a ticket bought now enters you to win both. And technically, you could win both. I think it's pretty unlikely, but technically it's possible. Right now, there's less than 2,000 people who have bought raffle tickets. Your odds are better than winning your money back on a $20 scratch off right now. Besides that, besides the bikes, it's just something that you can feel good about. This is an insane world where insane things happen to people who don't deserve it. If you have the ability to do so, helping out somebody who has less than you, it's completely changed my life. Forgotten Angels has. Forgotten Angels and all of you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys at the camp out that's coming up here in October. And thanks for being a bad person doing good things with me. Till next time, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade Tree, army. Shade Tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.